I'm Al Roker. I'm here with the equalman.
Word of mouth is now world of mouth.
Because someone asked, what's the social play? What's the mobile play? Our clients and customers are telling us, hey, we love what you're doing here. Are you doing more of that today? What I'm telling you here today, I'm not suggesting we get rid of face-to-face.
Digital leaders are made, not born. Well, welcome to today's Super You podcast. I'm your host, Erik Qualman. Most of you know me as Equalman. I'm super excited to be joined by Ron Blackmore, who's not only a good friend, but many of you may know him as a super agent because he works with the world's top entertainers and performers with his clients. And so think about Jeff Foxworthy, you've got Jay Leno, Darius Rucker, Reba McEntire, on down the list. So he's probably interacted with some of your favorite people that you listen to or watch when it comes to comedians or entertainers. So I just want to say, welcome to the show, Ron.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate the opportunity. Good to be in Austin.
I've been really looking forward to this particular conversation because Ron is a businessman who interfaces with some of the top thought leaders and performers in the world. He's been very instrumental in any success that I have had. So first of all, thank you, Ron, for doing that. But I'd like to unpack first, only 2% of companies survive after 10 years. And now here you're closing in on 2 decades. So just any insight for the listeners on some of the tips and tricks that have led to your success?
I guess first of all, I'll tell you that NextLevel Talent is a non-exclusive talent bureau to our corporate association nonprofit customers. We represent our clients in bringing the best talent to their event. And that's whether that's a musical act, a comedian, or a keynote speaker with a great message. Keys for being successful, I would say, are just partnerships on the client side. Being fortunate to have clients that value our partnership and what we bring to the table, but also on the talent side, folks like you and other great speakers out there and entertainers that consistently hit home runs for our clients, and partnering with talent like you that does that for us.
No, thank you. No, it's been such an honor. We've been at so many good events together. Is there anything that jumps out to you as separation between kind of the good versus the really great keynote speakers?
Absolutely. I would say the very best out there, number one, have a great message, a great topic that fits our clients' goals and objectives for that particular event. That's first and foremost. But then speakers and talent that are willing to go the extra mile rather than just looking for a quick booking and on to the next one. The ones that are really curious about the client's goals and objectives, their business, the people in the audience, and truly wanting to bring value to that event and form a partnership not only for that event, but hopefully a partnership that lasts down the road at other events and other opportunities.
Now, if you don't mind sharing, I'm sure you've got a lot of stories. You've been in so many cities at so many different events. It will start off with one that may have not gone as well as you'd hoped. Most of the stuff that you do always goes well, but there's some things you can't control. And maybe it wasn't you, maybe it's someone else. Is there any good story to where, wow, that thing did not go as expected?
I would say a big one was having a very big name comedian scheduled to perform at a corporate event in San Antonio. Said comedian was flying out of the West Coast very early that morning, connecting in Dallas up to San Antonio. Should have been on the ground by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. The comedian ended up getting stuck on a runway in Dallas. The connection never made it to San Antonio due to weather. And therefore we did not have the star of the show at the show. Thankfully for that one, I did have a host and an opening act. It was a bit of a comedy club type of event for this corporate client, and we made do with the 2 comics that were already there in town. So it worked out in the end, but it was less than ideal.
Yeah, and then sometimes you never know. We always talk about being flawsome on this show, is that sometimes you can turn that negative into a positive, which it sounds like you did. Is there anything, it might not be a particular story, or maybe it is, where someone just over-delivered, or just like who over-delivers in your mind?
The biggest thing is when talent can over-deliver their time. Time is valuable, and there's only so many days in a calendar year that you can book a speech, let's say. However, you can give value add by giving the client, the customer, the audience time prior to the event, while on site at the event with value add, whether it's leading a breakout after the keynote or it's meet and greeting or doing a book signing, and then follow up with that customer and their audience. With social, obviously, it's you have people tagging you, great keynote, Erik, and being able to touch you directly for the audience members. I think that's really special, and I don't think it takes a ton of effort, if done properly by the talent, to sort of bring that value and communicate with those folks.
No, that's good. I mean, that's what we even talked about, I think, on the last podcast, is that some folks have in their contracts / they call them riders in this industry. They have in the rider that you can't have a prep call with the client, which in my mind is crazy. I can see why they do that because they're so busy. But in my mind, the best way to understand your audience is get on as many calls as possible. And also, it's just another time to interface with the client. Are there any riders out there, and obviously don't name names, but anything that you jumped off at the charts for you in your experience?
I can't think of any one in particular. Certainly you see all sorts of things in these riders. I would agree with you that typically the language in the riders is there for a reason. The requirements, most of these artists that have a rider are on the road hundreds of days a year. They literally live on the road with their family or their crew. I think, riders are a way to distribute information about how we can make this event the best it can be. Budgets and riders oftentimes conflict, and so there's usually a meeting in the middle on many of the rider points. But all in all, there's a good reason that artists and speakers even have riders.
What we've done over the years is we decided to change our rider to just helpful tips, so it's not contractually in there, because it can be off-putting if someone reads it. What the heck is this? So one of the top questions I get is, and I don't want to flood your inbox like with all these requests, but everyone's like, man, if I could only get on Ron's radar, then I'd have all these bookings. I tell them it's definitely helpful to have those relationships, but just kind of start getting your reel together and just get out there and practice. But for those out there, how do they get on your radar? How does that happen?
Being persistent certainly is key. We're always looking for new talent in this business. Proposals can start to look the same year after year with annual customers. And so if someone's looking for a speaker on motivation or leadership, and that customer has been a customer of yours for 5, 6, 7 years, chances are you have pitched the same speakers to them several times. And, they've used someone off that list each year, but you're always looking for more ideas to kind of bring great value to their event.
A special thanks to today's guest, super agent Ron Blackmore from NextLevel Talent, for joining us on today's Super You podcast.